2023 has been one of the best years in recent gaming history, with groundbreaking titles, revived franchises, and some fantastic indies. 2023 has also been one of the worst years in recent gaming history, with company-destroying titles, wildly anti-consumer business practices, and an astronomical amount of layoffs. While games are at an all-time high, the gaming industry is at an all-time low. However, it's still important to celebrate the quality titles that do come around, even if the Game Awards aren't willing to. Now, last year Wait. Damn. 2 years ago, I made a list of the top 10 games I played in 2021, having not played enough games from 2021 to make up a list of its own. This year is no different. Here are the top 10 games I played in 2023.
Hope is pouting in advance. Hope is Faith's richer, bitchier sister. Hope is the deformed, attic-bound, incest monster offspring of entitlement and fear.
Listen, I'm a sucker for Warriors games. Yeah, repetitive hack and slash, yada yada yada, but sometimes I want to turn off my brain and go wacko mode with some of my favorite characters, and Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes let me do exactly that. It's not the best of its genre. I still think Zelda is a series that works with the formula much better, but that doesn't stop 3 Hopes from being great. This game has the same setup as 3 Houses, pick a house, school phase, war phase, but unlike 3 Houses, where half of the game is spent in both phases, a very brief period of time is spent in school, and the rest is war. The game tries to incorporate more Fire Emblem-y ideas into the game, just like Age of Calamity did. You can raise relationship ranks with your units, weapons have durability, there's combat arts. It all works to make the game feel much more Fire Emblem-y. Shez is also a much better protagonist than Byleth, actually having a personality and a more interesting relationship to the characters. I played Golden Deer, and I honestly found the story to be pretty strong, something Warriors games are not often known for, focusing mostly on Claude's ability to rule. And yeah, the gameplay can get repetitive, but the characters feel much more distinct in playstyle than the OG Fire Emblem Warriors, and overall it improves upon that game in almost every aspect.
Rise up when you're living on your knees, you rise up. Tell your brother that he's gotta rise up.
Tomb Raider 2013 was my first foray into the Tomb Raider franchise, and I had a really good time with it, so I was excited going into Rise of the Tomb Raider. And yeah, this is better in basically every way. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a nearly perfect sequel. Combat is much more interesting, more arrow types, new styles for every single weapon, explosives you can craft mid-combat. It has the same base as the first game, but felt a lot more fresh. There's a greater sense of exploration, with hub-type open areas instead of the very linear progression of the first game. There's also a lot more aspects to upgrade, more costumes, and some really fun puzzles making use of the new items and mechanics at Laura's disposal. That all being said, I found the story of Tomb Raider 2013 to be kinda boring, and this is not much better. The characters just aren't very interesting. Jonah and Jacob were more interesting supporting characters to Lara than Roth and Sam were. But man, in terms of characters and dynamics, this series just does not have the juice that Uncharted has. But the gameplay does, and it's almost entirely better. And if Rise of the Tomb Raider improved the formula that much, I am excited to see what Shadow of the Tomb Raider will do.
When we crush the Guardians of the
Galaxy! Square Enix's relationship with Marvel kinda left a bad taste in everyone's mouth in 2020, with Marvel's Avengers being repetitive, buggy, and having a games-as-a-service monetization model, which everyone just loves. And unfortunately, this heavily affected the sales of Square's next Marvel game, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a shame because this game is great. Honestly, I kinda love anything with these characters, and this game is no different. While taking some inspiration from the MCU, these guys are wholly unique and feel very much their own characters. There's a surprisingly strong and emotionally driven narrative here, and while obviously Star-Lord is at the center, all of the other characters, especially Rocket, play important roles. The dialogue is just as fun as it's ever been, and combat isn't too deep, but still very fun, with it still feeling fresh 20 hours in as you continue to unlock more abilities for all of the characters. While I was initially disappointed that you are locked to Star-Lord, it works quite well, and the other Guardians still have a lot to do in combat, and it feels much better after a successful huddle and any of the game's licensed music kicks in. Again, it's not surprising why this game did as poorly as it did, but it is such a shame. Go play this, it is a very, very good time.
I was the king's favorite fool. I made merry mirth and laughter. Then I told one bad joke and the king had a stroke. Now I hang from ye old rafter.
As someone who's been doing theater for the past decade of his life, please don't dislike. When Once Upon a Jester, a theater game, was revealed in an indie world a couple years back, I was pretty excited, but I didn't get my hands on it until this year. Once Upon a Jester is probably the funniest and most charming game I have ever played. Jester and Sock are two con men who want to steal the royal diamond, and in order to get to the palace, they must win a theater competition to perform for the king. There are a ton of unique characters with their own distinct plot lines, and they're made doubly fun with the wild performances the voice actors give. There's Hawk, a wandering salesman who longs for a life at sea, Snook and Katoon, Jester and Sock's ex-friends who disapprove of how the duo turned their life around,
Look at his outfit. LOL much. Hello. And that animal plays the piano. What did you say to me?
and who could forget Conrad, Pistachio, and Stracciatella, three men made of ice cream who sell ice cream.
Let's not lose our cones. This is a good thing.
Stop it. Life isn't always wonderful and sweet, Conrad. You can't solve everything with sugar, Pistachio. Ever since what happened last summer, I feel sad all the time.
Sometimes the voice actors will flub a line, but instead of doing another take, they keep in the blooper and you find yourself laughing along with the voice actor. This isn't to say that the game is devoid of any serious moments. There's strong messages of personal identity, following your heart, and a genuine love for theater that, coupled with the silly moments, help make Once Upon a Jester that much more endearing. And the gameplay is all about theater, man. Learn the townspeople's favorite genre and improv your way to the top. It is a wildly fun and funny time with some genuinely great music to back it up. Honestly, out of everything on this list, I implore you to play Once Upon a Jester.
Oh my god! It's Spider-Man! It's Spider-Man!
Spider-Man 2 is probably going to be no one's game of the year. Playing it a bit too safe, it's overshadowed by some of the year's bigger and more experimental games. That being said, it's still a great game that should be talked about. I had an absolute blast with Spider-Man 2. In terms of gameplay, it's almost entirely an improvement. An upgraded skill tree, combat abilities, stealth tactics, and swinging techniques make for an experience that feels finely tuned and perfected. The story is not perfect, but I won't lie and say I didn't have a lot of fun with some of the wacky things it throws at you, especially with some really great boss fights. Peter's story is compelling as he hunts and is hunted by Kraven, wrestles with a symbiote, and reunites with Harry. It's engaging and fun, but the same can't be said about Miles. Unfortunately, Miles takes a large backseat in the primary storyline of the game. While Peter dukes it out with new villains and gains new powers, Miles' main arc focuses on juggling Spider-Man and school, while also grappling with the escape of Martin Lee from prison. His story kind of feeling like a generic teenage Peter plot rather than his own unique arc. But hey, when you can do this, and this, and this, look at me go, whee! I can't complain all that much. Not a perfect sequel, but still a hell of a time.
Stars in your multitudes, scarce to be counted.
I kind of had no idea what to expect with Sea of Stars. I just knew it was an SNES style RPG, and man was I pleasantly surprised. Sea of Stars is a beautiful game with incredibly fun combat, gorgeous visuals and score, and a story with characters. Sea of Stars gameplay is where it shines. It really perfects traditional RPG combat, feeling most akin to early RPGs like Super Mario RPG with its action commands, or Mario and Luigi with its combos. This is my point of reference, I'm sorry if it's more similar to something that came earlier. Each character feels unique, and they all, except for Garl, feel necessary to have in your team, with seamless party switching and fun combos to pull off. And the bosses are incredible. Just so well designed and cool and creepy, and all with unique gameplay gimmicks, and they're just so cool. Exploration is also really fun, making your way down cascading waterfalls, mines run by mole people, or an intricate clock tower. You also get overworld abilities such as a grappling hook or the ability to change time. The story does struggle a bit though. While the second half is full of exciting, if sometimes convoluted twists and turns, the first half of the game is unfortunately generic, sticking too close to the chosen one tropes we see all too often in RPGs such as this. It doesn't help that the protagonists, Zale and Valir, are the weakest characters, with very little personality or discernible traits. Fortunately, the other party members make up for this. Sea of Stars is still an incredible RPG and absolutely worthy of its Game Award.
I'll have you know I stubbed my toe last week while watering my spice garden, and I only cried for 20 minutes.
Yes, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is more Breath of the Wild. But is that a bad thing? Hell no. Tears improves on almost everything Breath of the Wild introduced. Better shrines, improved runes, better combat, more enemy variety, significantly better dungeons. Yes, the map is the same, but there's still so much more to explore. Changes to the normal base map, sky map, underground map, making this by far my most played game this year. At times, Breath of the Wild feels like a beta version of this game. It's just so expansive and grand and sandboxy, and being a part of the community back in May when everyone was posting their Korok killing machines was just so fun. I could nitpick and complain about so many little things, but Tears of the Kingdom is still a fantastic Zelda experience where I can fuse Hudson to a shield. Can you do that in Ocarina of Time? Can you do that in Twilight Princess? I didn't think so. Also, there's just some crazy stuff here I didn't even know was possible. Recreating enemy models based on a picture? That's awesome. That's so cool. Best game ever. Thank you, Nintendo. I love it. Please let the next Zelda be different, though.
For his neutral special, he wields a gun. His up special fires a gun. His side special invokes gun.
Persona 5 Royal is the coolest RPG ever, right? Like, that's just a fact. That's just a fact we all roll with and accept because this game is so cool. Persona 5 Royal absolutely perfects turn-based combat and proves it can be just as fun and engaging as real-time. The personas are very cool. The amount of customization and strategy and flair in the battles makes even the weakest enemies hella fun to beat. The characters are also so much fun, and the game does such a good job of making you want to sit through hours of cutscenes because these silly, wacky guys and their interactions are so entertaining. And I don't know, man, I'll always be a sucker for a group of friends become essentially secret superheroes. I think growing up in Power Rangers made this something I always dreamed of. The writing can be a bit too anime, especially in the first arc with Ann and Kamoshida, and overall I don't love how the game treats Ann, but the story overall is still very engaging. The palaces are fun to traverse, Japan is fun to explore, and there's just so much style here. It's long, and I mean long. But once you start, you can't really stop. I don't know how Atlus plans on topping this, or if they'll ever even attempt it, given that it's been 7 years since Persona 5, and all Persona has received is 2 spin-offs of Persona 5. But man, I am excited for Persona 6, which will never come out, so I'll settle for that Persona 3 remake. Here's the thing, everyone knew Super Mario Wonder was gonna be good before it came out, but I truly don't think you can understand how good it is until you play it yourself. And yeah, it's that good. This is not only the best 2D Mario game, but one of the best Mario games, period. The level design here, man, it's immaculate. Every level has a Wonder Flower, and those Wonder Flowers turn already good levels into some of the best I've seen in a 2D platformer. Whether it be turning into a tall guy that makes a slide whistle sound, or the oft-talked-about Piranha Plant singing level, or the top-down 3D one, or the one where you turn into Metal Mario and his music from 64 plays. It's always a blast, and it's always a treat to see how each level contorts. And the characters feel like characters here. They're alive and expressive, and it makes the world feel real and lived in. I think literally the only negative in this game is that the bosses are bad, because until the end, it's only Bowser Jr. But I don't even care, man. This game has so much love and care, and is the definitive 2D Mario experience. Also, you can do this. Play the game, please. Before we get to the number 1 spot, I wanted to list a few honorable mentions. First of all, Lil Gator Game. This one's awesome. You play as a little guy who makes his own Zelda game, and it's really cute, and the ending made me sad. What Remains of Edith Finch? This is a game that also made me sad. And also, the WarioWare Incorporated, the first one on the GBA. I played that. It didn't make me sad, but it was really good. Okay, on to number 1.
Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin to play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4.
I got into Pikmin pretty late, aka my first Pikmin game was 3 Deluxe on Switch, and I instantly fell in love with that game. And when Pikmin 4 was finally announced, it immediately became my most anticipated release. Then it released, and oh my god. Some may say the game is too lax on time, some may say the aiming or lock-on system is bad. I say, shut up. This game is, in my eyes, perfect. It is exactly what I want from a Pikmin game. I love the level design, I love the caves, I love the characters, I love the new enemies and the new items, I love how absolutely beautiful the game looks, I love the tense new night sections, I love the alarmingly large amount of content both during the game and post-game, I love the Piclopedia and the treasure list and all the fun witty dialogue and write-ups, I love Oatchi. Honestly, I don't know how I can play a Pikmin game without Oatchi. Pikmin 4 is perfect for newcomers, and it's perfect for those already familiar with Pikmin. If I tried, I could probably find something to nitpick, but the sheer joy I experienced while playing this game makes all my complaints nothing. My face when I unlocked the Olimar side mission and realized there was a whole Pikmin 1 in this Pikmin 4 was like top 3 gaming moments of the year. I love this game, and you should too. If I had my way, Pikmin 4 would have at least been nominated for Game of the Year, but hey, I'll take a Best Strategy win. I screamed when that happened. So that was my list of the top 10 games I played this year. I played like 6 games from this year, so I think that's a pretty good number. Let me know what your favorite games from this year were, or your favorite games that you played this year. I am working on a top 15 movies from this year video. And by working on, I mean it's still a thought and I haven't put pen to paper, but I will soon. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.